Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to talk about all the AI advances that has been happening over the few weeks. There's a lot of news and a lot of things that have come up in the past few weeks. I've been mostly making videos sort of on AI topics, but I haven't really been covering too much of the latest activities and the latest things that have come out. So that's sort of what I'm going to be doing today. And there's a lot of things that are exciting, and I'm very excited about so many of these new developments. I'm playing with a lot of them. In fact, I don't really have that much time to do other stuff because there's just so much to play with and so many things to experiment with. It's been quite a whirlwind week, and yeah, I will jump right in with the first news, which is probably the most mundane of all of my news today, and that is I'm in the new Bing. And it's kind of crazy that this is the most mundane thing that I can talk about, because like 2 weeks ago I was really excited and really wanted to get access to the new Bing, and now that I do have access to the new Bing, I haven't really tried it yet, mostly because they are limiting it to being used on the Microsoft Edge browser, which is slightly annoying, but I will definitely be trying out the Bing experience, and I think that's what the video will be on this week, is all of the AI powered search engines. I'm going to be giving sort of my own use cases and some of what I experienced while using these these search engines, and then give my take on if it's good, if it's bad, if it helped me, or if it's just a gimmick right now. So yeah, I'm going to explore Bing Chat, and just I haven't had time recently, and because it was Microsoft Edge only and I use Brave browser, I can't really test that out until I switch over to Microsoft Edge, so I will be doing that for the next video. And if you're interested, you can definitely go ahead and go to bing.com/chat, or go to bing.com and click the chat link, and then you can there's a thing that you can opt into the beta, and they will notify you once you are in it. Okay, the second news is also relating to search engine, and that is Brave, which is the browser that I use. They made a search engine way back, I think maybe 1 or 2 years now, and the idea of their search engine is to be a more privacy centric search engine, the more privacy focused than Google or Bing or these other sites. They want to make it very much about privacy, and they've just introduced the new Brave Search Summary, the summarize tool, and this is also powered by LLMs, and we can see. Let me open these in a new tab. Acetaminophen and ibuprofen are over-the-counter pain relief drugs that act differently in the body, and it basically just tells you, hey, it's not the same, but they both do pain relief. And that's sort of what Brave Summarizer does, is you ask it a question, and it gives you a summary of what it sees from the results. And this approach, it's not a chatbot approach like Microsoft Bing or U.com's UChat, and I think this approach is probably one of the best approaches. As I discussed in my LLM video, I think LLMs are great for summary and great for writing things. They aren't great for getting information. So if you give the LLM a list of the search results, so still do your traditional search, page rank and everything, give LLM the results and have it basically read through the articles and then just come up with a concise summary. I think that's the best use case. but sometimes this kind of fails. I don't really want to say this is an exact failure case, but I asked, does the iPhone have USB-C? Well, if you don't know, iPhones do not have USB-C. For the longest time, they've had their own Lightning port. And this summarizer didn't really get it wrong. It said, yes, Apple is currently testing an iPhone that uses a USB-C port instead of a Lightning port, which could potentially be released in 2023 as the first USB-C iPhone. None of that statement is incorrect, but I think this summary is slightly misleading because there isn't an iPhone with a USB-C port. I would prefer the answer to be no, but Apple is testing an iPhone. And also the fact that they're testing an iPhone is a rumor, and there has been rumors of Apple testing USB-C iPhones for a while. But obviously this time it seems more credible of a rumor, but again, not the best answer for the summarizer, but I don't really knock it for being wrong. Again, these are all AI generated sentences, and ChatGPT would probably get that more wrong or less wrong depending on the case, but at least this is backed up by search results. Like if you hover over here, you can go to that site where it read it from. And also sometimes it just doesn't work. This is still sort of in beta, and sometimes it just doesn't answer the question. Maybe it doesn't think it's a question. I said, does the iPhone have Lightning? And you really have to prompt it and say, does the iPhone have a Lightning port? And then it says, yeah, the iPhone does have a Lightning port. So yeah, that is the Brave summarizer, which is part of Brave Search. You can go to search.brave.com and use it right now. And they've also improved sort of how the results read through the links that it suggests. So before it would just sort of match the keywords. Now it would kind of highlight key information that kind of relates to your query. So I think that's pretty cool. Another cool use of LLMs is instead of just doing a strict keyword match, it now also does sort of understand what you were asking and shows you that information that the article provides. This is not generated data. This is them highlighting parts of the article that you might be interested in. So this is a very good approach for LLMs. And I think it's great. And you can use it right now on Brave Search. Next, the new thing that came out is Poe. Poe is not new. They have been on an iOS app for a long time. They're backed by Quora, I believe. And they've just recently, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, released the desktop version of their application. So you can now use this app on your browser, just like ChatGPT. So before you had to have an iPhone specifically, or an iOS device. Now you can use it on the desktop. So it's much more accessible to everyone. Before it was also an invite only program where people who have access to it would invite you, and one of my friends did that for me. But now you could just go to poe.com. I did that today and made a new account, and you can just access this right now. And just really quickly, Sage is OpenAI. This is pretty much this was basically the ChatGPT before ChatGPT. Before they added a ChatGPT option, this was basically that. Claude is obviously from Anthropic, which we talked about before, and this is probably one of the only ways to access Claude right now as a private or public beta. I guess that counts as that. ChatGPT, obviously, you can access that through here or through the actual chat.openai.com, and Dragonfly, which is, I think, their own fine-tuned version of ChatGPT as well. So 3 OpenAI bots and 1 Anthropic, all available for you to use in a chat interface, and I really like this. And it syncs between your desktop and your phone if you have an iPhone, and you can sort of carry your conversations through that. All right, the next big thing that came out is LLaMA, which is something that Facebook AI or Meta AI created. It is kind of like GPT or GPT-3, GPT-2, these sort of large language models. They created one called LLaMA, which is a 65 billion parameter LLM. And this is a state-of-the-art LLM, and it supposedly is pretty good. It can go head-to-head with ChatGPT and, well, GPT-3 specifically. And GPT-3 has like hundreds of billions of parameters. This one's supposedly a little bit smaller. And you can apply for that research preview. It is only for researchers right now. And they have released the weights, but it's for researchers. So you have to sign up through their form, through this Google form, and they have released an open source sort of simple interaction tool. So you can basically, there's like a getting started code, and you can interact with it. And the funniest thing is someone leaked the model weights. And not only did they leak the model weights, they created a pull request saying save bandwidth by using a torrent to distribute more efficiently. So if you didn't know, the model weights are between sort of like a couple gigs to 100 gig. And so the models are really, really big because these are, 7, 10, 100 billion parameter models. That is a lot of data and a lot of data. And someone basically got the weights and made a joke like, hey, you don't have to download it from Facebook, save your bandwidth and use a torrent. And that's pretty funny. So yeah, the model weights are available out in the public, and it's pretty funny. And of course, as a person who supports open source software, I also approved these changes and said it looks good to me. So yeah, that's the update with the new Facebook large language model, and it would be interesting to see what they do with it and if they make some sort of ChatGPT interface on either Instagram, WhatsApp, or Facebook. Google also jumped into the mix this week, and they released their FLAN UL2 20 billion parameter weights. And this is another large language model that is like GPT-3, but unlike GPT-3, it is an encoder-decoder model on the T5 architecture. And what that means is that GPT-3 basically is a decoder-only model. That means that it sort of doesn't really parse the sentence in terms of, it doesn't really do the tokenization and encoding the tokens. It just sort of gets gets your sentence and then runs the algorithm and then decodes its output. And an encoder-decoder model does both the encoding from sentence to sort of tokens, does the thing, and then it decodes it. And whether or not that's good or bad is up for debate. And obviously this is why there's a lot of research, and there's models like GPT and models like FLAN UL2. They are basically just going back and forth saying which one is better. And this one seems to be pretty good. The UL2 model seems to also be able to compete with GPT-3 in terms of its abilities in certain places. And you can use this in, someone made a collab notebook that you can test this out. And someone did an analysis. It's state of the art in 50 different NLP tasks. It outperforms GPT-3 on the zero-shot S-glue. I don't know what that is specifically, but that is definitely like a test set or something to test these models with. It does have 3 times the performance versus the original T5 XXL. So that was the predecessor of the UL2 model. And most importantly, it is open code and the checkpoints are open. The 20 billion one is specifically open. Similar to the Facebook one, which is open source, but the weights are currently researcher only, closed source, obviously leaked, but it is supposedly closed source. But this one is open source and you can play with it. And I saw some tweets on it that people were able to get it done on the Colab computers. So you can just run it on Google Colab and try it out. Okay, the next thing that sort of blew up, it's mostly in sort of the TikTok universe. AI has penetrated the TikTok universe as AI voices, and this is specifically ElevenLabs. They've been blowing up because a lot of people have been using ElevenLabs to emulate voices of presidents, specifically President Biden, Trump, and Obama. And it's pretty funny what they've made these presidents say. You know, they've played Minecraft, they've played different games. This one's Final Fantasy 14, GTA, more Minecraft, things like that. And it's really funny. And I'm going to show you one of them just really quickly. This is probably one of the most famous ones. It's the Overwatch one.
Ah, Dorado. I love this map. Takes me back.
Is that you again, Joe, on my fucking team?
Oh, great. It's this guy.
Oh, GG, we lost. This is my rank up game, too.
We are not even out of spawn doors, and this guy is already complaining.
Someone dodge, please.
You fucking insta-lock Zen again, and you're gonna feed again.
How many accounts do I have to keep fucking avoiding
you? You are not beating the hard-stuck Masters allegations, Don.
That is so cap, Joe. You know, I was having a really good day today.
Don't care.
Went golfing, hit a few holes in one.
Don't
Wanted
care.
to solo queue some Overwatch to end the
Don't
day,
care.
and I see fucking Bidenator in my lobby just to ruin my day.
Can't wait until Blizzard fixed matchmaking, Jesus fucking Christ.
So yeah, that's pretty funny. It is as Dexerto says, the best use of AI right now. It is pretty funny that you know, you can create fake voices. It's nice that people aren't doing this maliciously. Obviously, people are probably looking for ways to make malicious content of people's voices, but you know, it's funny that this stuff is happening. So that's also, I think, newsworthy this week. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is OpenAI. OpenAI is the elephant in the room. They've been making strides, as we talked about in the AI art episode. They made DALL-E and DALL-E 2, and in the LLM episode, they pretty much have the state-of-the-art large language model GPT-3 and ChatGPT, both amazing things that people talk about. And what did they do this week, or at least these past few weeks? Well, the founder and CEO said data submitted to the OpenAI API is not used for training, and we have a new 30-day retention policy and are open to less on a case-by-case basis. We've also removed our pre-launch review and made our terms of service and usage policies more developer-friendly, and that's pretty good. And what this says is they have too much data, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Some company like OpenAI has been gathering, they've been gathering data from GPT and to sort of improve their product. And now all of a sudden they have so many people using, like millions of people using it, millions and millions of requests, that they have a unique problem that pretty much no other company in the world has, and that is they have too much data. You know, I'm sure Facebook is willing to pay a lot of money to get that data from them, but hey, they don't need it anymore. They're like, hey, we're not going to train with it. It's just too much. We're only going to retain it for 30 days and then we're going to toss it away. So that's pretty funny and pretty cool. Obviously, it's great for things like privacy and for yourself, but it's also interesting to see that they have, you know, too much data. But that is not why we're talking about OpenAI today. why we're talking about OpenAI today is because of the ChatGPT and Whisper APIs. And what an API is, it stands for Application Programming Interface, and what that does is you programmers like me or other people can interface with ChatGPT and Whisper through code. And basically you're able to send requests to ChatGPT through code and get back responses through code. And why that is important is because developers can now integrate ChatGPT and Whisper models into their apps and products through our API. Now, before, you could use the models, GPT-3 models that OpenAI had available. But those models were pretty good at sort of doing large language model tasks, but it wasn't ChatGPT level. ChatGPT sort of unlocked a new level of interaction where you can just talk to it and tell it what to do and it will do it. And that's not something that the old models did. Obviously, a lot of developers already use GPT-3 in their apps, and I think I talked about it a little bit in my LLM video, some of the existing use cases. But now there are new use cases. Now that it is a chatbot, it is ChatGPT API, and Snapchat jumped on the train and they made My AI, and it's basically a new chatbot in their app. You can just talk to it like any other friend in Snapchat, and it's basically talking to ChatGPT in Snapchat, and that's great. You can do that. You can interact with ChatGPT. And some other use cases, Quizlet made one where you can talk to QChat and get help with learning your terms. Instacart is making a new app to new feature that uses ChatGPT to integrate with their app, and you can ask it like, what can I cook? And then it'll suggest you things to buy. That's pretty funny. There's also Shopify. I actually experienced this when I booted up my Shopify app, and it had the new AI shopping assistant. And I was actually talking to my friend. I was like, how much do you want to bet this is ChatGPT? And it is. I went on to this. I saw this blog post and it was like, yeah, it is using ChatGPT, and that's crazy, And it's really crazy that you can have access to ChatGPT directly, programmatically, because before you kind of have to go around. They had like Cloudflare to block it, and people had to sort of. I also tried it, sort of emulating, running a browser and then reading the information from a browser. So you're basically writing code to interact with a browser that interacts with ChatGPT. Now you don't have to do that. You don't have to go around all these loopholes. You can just directly ask OpenAI for the answers. As I tweeted out, I was like, I played around with ChatGPT API today. It's so fun and amazing, and coming up with more ideas to implement. And I think that's the fun part now, is you can implement things that you probably couldn't do before, and you can just very easily attach ChatGPT to it and get a good result. And what the craziest part about this, it's not just the fact that we have access to these models. Obviously, access to these models is huge, but the craziest part is $2 per million tokens. That is a crazy reduction in price. It's actually 10% of the price of the most powerful GPT-3 model available, and that is DaVinci. It was 2 cents per 1,000 tokens for DaVinci. It is now 0.2 cents for ChatGPT, and that is crazy. Right here you can see chat, 0.2 cents for 1,000 tokens. That's 1,000,000 tokens for $2. And you can see DaVinci, the most powerful model, 2 cents for 1,000 tokens, and ADA for 0.04 cents. So it is 80% off of this thing. So only 20% of the ChatGPT model, but it is much worse at doing things. And it's crazy that you have access to ChatGPT for, in my opinion, hardware costs aside, like you have to buy things like a 3090 or 4090, or even one of the research grade A100s, A1000s, things like that. Instead, you could basically have access to one of the most powerful large language models for probably less than electricity. Honestly, I think this is probably cheaper than me running my computer on the whole day. Obviously, it's not like continuously streaming, but like the fact that you have to keep a computer on and running, a power hungry computer with a GPU running in the background when people aren't using it. When people are using it, it draws more power. It is probably cheaper to just call ChatGPT, and that's crazy. And I said on Twitter, it's so crazy how spoiled we are with this ChatGPT model. And I can just say Ada, Babbage, and Curie models, which I just tested out today in their playground, they suck. They are bad. But they were state of the art just a few months ago. And that is crazy how fast things are moving, that I can basically say, hey, these models that used to be the best in the world, GPT-3 used to be the best, they're just bad, because ChatGPT can do things maybe slightly more expensive compared to Ada, Babbage, and Curie, but way less expensive than DaVinci, yet it can do it better. And that's crazy. And the implications for people who are not programmers are, as we talked about before, Shopify, Quizlet, Instacart are all incorporating ChatGPT into their apps, and those are the big developers that have done it already, and there will be a lot more developers doing that now. And Sam Altman said something very strange about people writing bullet points, having ChatGPT expanded to a polite email, sending it, and then the sender uses ChatGPT to condense it into key bullet points. Now you could do that with the ChatGPT API officially. Like, there were Chrome extensions that did some magic and communicated with ChatGPT, or used like the DaVinci model to turn bullet points to emails, and the other way around. Now you can do that with just the ChatGPT API, and more people will build things like GitChat, which is a conversational UI to discuss pull requests, and you can read what a pull request is on and ask it questions. That's crazy. There's also things like Room GPT, where you can create your dream room. This combines both like generative imaging and also just text chat parsing, and it can create rooms based on your description. And also using the new ChatGPT API, there's this language to actions, and made a toy app where you can use language to build a 3D city. You can just use language, you can describe your city and build it. So it's amazing what people have done with ChatGPT API already, and it is just basically the sky's the limit in terms of what people can do with it. And I also did something with it. I made a Discord bot, and the reason why I made the Discord bot is sort of why Snapchat made their own AI with ChatGPT. It's because it's a lot more convenient to me to just interact with the bot on Discord, and I'm willing to pay 0.2 cents per 1,000 tokens just to talk to ChatGPT on Discord instead of going through their website. And it's just an amazing experience to be able to use this API, and I'm thinking of new things to develop right now and things to test out and use the ChatGPT API. So there will be a lot more new apps and new services that spring up because of the new ChatGPT API, and that is exciting. And that also concludes the news for this week or these past few weeks. And I'm probably going to be doing one of these videos every couple of weeks, depending on how much news comes out. It might not always be on AI, it might be on other tech stuff, but just basically exciting things that I see that has come out in the past few weeks. I'll compile it and then just talk to you guys about all of it in one video. So yeah, as usual, if you liked the video, please make sure to leave a like below. Comment below if there's a thing that you're most excited about, or if you have any thoughts on what you're going to build with ChatGPT API. And of course, subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with others. There's a lot of crazy news, and especially if your friends are developers, they'll probably appreciate some of the things that were shared today. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. I will talk to you later. Bye bye.